So only 25% of you will be able to do this. The question is, are you in that 25%? I'm Mrs. H from Mrs. H Psychology, and this video is part of a series of videos introducing psychology. This third video in the series is going to introduce you to something called change blindness. So here's where we see whether you can do this task. Look at this garden scene and see if you can spot what changes. It'll be broken up every few seconds to make it a little bit harder. Did you spot it? Now I'll show you without the gaps. Daniel Simons is the researcher who's probably most famous for this area of research, and he's carried out fascinating research on change blindness. And what he's shown time and time again is that we don't notice change in front of us even though it seems very obvious. Here's a replication of his classic door study. Watch what happens here, but what we're really interested in is how many people notice the change.
Excuse me, I'm looking for the skyline.
Then, we break the two up, walking through them holding a large sheet of wood. Now watch as I replace Vin. You might think people would notice the switch, but almost half the time, they didn't. Of course, that means more than half the time they did.
But this piece of research with the basketball players by Dan Simons is probably the most famous one and definitely worth a look, and I've given you the link for that video. But for now, have a look at this one from Transport for London. Your task is to count how many times the people in white pass the ball. It sounds really simple, doesn't it? But actually, not many people are accurate, so have a go.
This is an awareness test. How many passes does the team in white make?
Go!
Okay, so let's see if you were accurate. How many passes were there?
The answer is 13. But did you see the moonwalking bear?
Go!
It's a real surprise for a lot of people that something in the scene that they're watching so closely can change and they don't even notice it. Now have a look at these two guys on the screen, and I'm guessing that you can tell the difference between them quite easily. Well, apparently 75% of people didn't even notice when these two men swapped places while still interacting with them. You think you'd notice, don't you? You think you'd notice such a dramatic change. Well, you'd be surprised. Click on the link to have a look at the full study. Okay, so why is this all important? Why is this relevant? It's important because it shows that our attention system is not as good as we think it is. So we need to be aware of these limitations. So for example, in driving, how much information are we picking up if we're talking to somebody? Eyewitness testimony, how much information are we actually picking up from our surroundings? If you're interested in other information on change blindness, then click the other links to the other videos I've given you. If you like this video, please subscribe and also share them with anyone else who might be interested in them. Also check out my other Mrs. H videos, including the Introduction to Psychology, and thanks very much for watching.